Coming up next at 6 on the Piedmont News Station, I'm Carter Quillen for Forsyth County, where people in one neighborhood have seen water bills triple their usual amount. How the city says this happened and what they're doing to fix it.
I'm Stephanie Ondo in Winston-Salem, and today we found out exactly how safe this city is, how the number of violent crimes has been dropping for years, but the number of murders is up.
Even though the meeting is over, the city still wants to hear from you and your ideas when it comes to the Renaissance Shopping Center. I'm Fox 8's Jasmine Spencer in Greensboro. Coming up, what's the next step in getting these storefronts open again?
What a beautiful night in North Carolina's high country. Live video here from Sugar Mountain in Avery County. Look at all the snow tops there, where things may be clear now, but you know, it has been a perfect week for skiers to hit the slopes. Back here in the Piedmont, Chief Meteorologist Van Denton's checking over our forecast for the weekend. And Van, we're getting ready for a slightly warmer night, but nothing really to get too excited about.
Yeah, it's hard to call teens warmer, but they are when we had single digits to around 10 degrees last night. Right now, also, we're in the low to mid 20s. Now, a normal night when we start out this cold, we'd get extremely cold, but tonight we are fortunate temperatures will go down less. They're not going to drop a lot, but wind chills still an issue. Teens out there, they're not going to be as bad as they were last night. No advisory for us this evening when we were forecasting last night below 0 wind chills. Tonight it'll be between 0 and 10 above. Wind chills, though, will dip that cold in some mountain areas, and that's where wind chill advisories are out. Now, as we look at our future here with temperatures, again, they will get a little bit colder than this, but it's going to go down pretty slowly tonight. We'll be back into the upper teens later in the evening, and then we'll start to hover there. May go down just a few more degrees around 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning, but unlike most nights when we drop all night till about 7 or 7:30 to our low, by 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, we think temperatures will actually go up a little bit, and that's because some clouds are moving in. Will they be around all weekend? What are they going to produce? And then what about next week's system? That includes the chance of a coastal system. All that and more is straight ahead.
Well, this time of year, we're used to paying more when it comes to heating our homes. So imagine being hit with a water bill nearly triple what you're used to paying when you haven't changed your water consumption at all. Well, it happened to a veteran in Clemens, and he turned to Fox 8's Carter Coyle to help him get some answers. And Carter, sadly, this really all boils down to one contract worker not doing his job.
Exactly, and that worker was fired. I just got off the phone with Utilities Director Ron Hargrove. He said figuring out how many people are affected by this is really going to be a nightmare for their department. And meanwhile, customers are confused about bills that at first they say could not possibly be right.
Balance due, $247.
It's been a frustrating new year for retired Army Colonel Max Reed. For 2 weeks, he's been trying to figure out why his water bill for the end of last year was unusually high.
This one jumped and is almost triple what it had ever been. There was an $85 charge that I didn't understand.
Reed said his water bill is usually around $100, give or take, depending on the time of the year.
But I'm not watering the grass in 32-degree temperature.
While Fox 8 was at Reed's house Friday, Winston-Salem Utilities called to explain why his bill was wrong.
Oh, so you're telling me nobody read the meter?
Winston-Salem Utilities Director Ron Hargrove confirmed to Fox 8 a contract meter reader was fired in November after the city found out he was falsifying meter reads. Hargrove says the man was supposed to read 360 meters a day, and when he didn't hit that quota, he faked the rest and entered low consumption amounts for the customers he didn't get to. Mr. Reed wishes he'd known about this problem earlier.
That it's extremely aggravating to find out that it was going on, that someone knew it and then didn't tell us even after the fact was known.
The utilities company did accurate readings in December and then had to add charges for water usage the customers weren't charged for months before. That's why their bills were so much higher.
It's solved for me, but for everybody else that doesn't know anything about it, they're still looking at it as a problem.
Mr. Hargrove says they will be sending a notification letter out to explain why bills were fluctuating so much. We asked why they didn't notify folks sooner, and he said it's because they really didn't know how many people were impacted because of these false readings. Again, the contract meter reader was fired and the contract with that company was terminated.
So frustrating, Carter. Thank you. The old Greensboro Inn downtown slowly coming down this week. Crews have been knocking down the old building here at the corner of Summit Avenue and East Lindsay. building one of the first being torn down to make way for the brand new Stephen Tanger Center for the Performing Arts. Also happening now, a new plan on the table to bring life back to East Greensboro, with a group of from outside of the Piedmont looking to come in and take over the Renaissance Shopping Center. The Self-Help Ventures Fund is based in Durham and is behind this latest proposal. And in addition to asking the city for millions toward renovations here, it's doing something others haven't, getting the community involved. Well, Fox 8's Jasmine Spencer is following the story now from Greensboro. And Jasmine, I know it's taken a long time to get to this point.
That's right, Neil. People that were at the meeting last night and people we talked to today say they really just hope at this point that the proposal goes through. It's no secret that this area needs a grocery store and job development, but now it's time for the community's input. And Jamal Fox, the council member here, and Self-Help is asking for people to put in their ideas to hopefully get started design and rebuild within the year. Boarded windows and doors cover most of the Renaissance Shopping Center in Greensboro and has for the last 15 years. The only shopping going on is at Family Dollar.
Most of the household products that I need.
Patricia Herbin, like hundreds of other people living nearby, want a grocery within walking distance like it used to be in the old days.
It used to be very, very open and busy. My kids grew up in this neighborhood, so it was really nice.
Councilman Jamal Fox says the key word is was.
Something needs to happen. When you drive around and you see beautiful library, but you look behind it, it's like, what are they doing?
Along with the nonprofit Self-Help Ventures Fund, Fox is asking for the community to critique a proposal to put business back into these storefronts. Neighbors can type in their thoughts on the website greensboroideas.com.
I'm asking the community, give us feedback on the shop center. You know, what's missing and what do you like about the proposal until February 7th.
Self-Help is asking for $2 million from the city, whether it's a grant or forgivable loan, to renovate the building into a grocery store and lease the other empty spaces. Down the street at TV Barbershop,
it has been abandoned.
Business owner Greg Tyler wants to see the remaining businesses give people a job.
Anything that's going to employ people, give people jobs, or, you know, anything that's convenient, you know. Urgent cares, anything, something like that.
As long as it doesn't take away from his.
I don't have any specific preferences, but as long as there ain't another barbershop.
And the website again for those ideas are greensboroideas.com. Now you have until February 7th to submit those and comment on the proposal. Some other ideas that Fox mentioned that people were putting in were maybe an urgent care or a credit union. But it depends. All of these ideas will be put together and presented to council on February 18th to decide if they're going to move forward with the proposal and finally get a center back up and running. And again, Self-Help so far is the only company that is interested in the Renaissance Center. We're live in Greensboro. I'm Jasmine Spencer, Fox 8 News.
Thank you, Jasmine. New details in that homicide investigation at the Stones Throw apartment complex off Holden Road in Greensboro. Police have identified the victim as Arnold Clark Jr. He was 34 years old. His body was found inside his apartment yesterday morning after police got a call requesting someone check on him. Officers are not saying how he died. In Winston-Salem, the city's looking at more ways to fight crime. Today, the city released its 2013 crime numbers, and while things like aggravated assaults, burglaries, and larcenies were down, there was an increase in murders, with the number nearly double what it was in 2012. Fox 8's Stephanie Ondo on this story tonight. And Stephanie, what's the takeaway from all this?
Well, Police Chief Barry Roundtree says that these numbers show that for the most part, his officers are doing a good job, but the number of murders being up is troubling, so he's taking steps to bring those numbers down this year. Crime statistics paint a picture of how safe a city really is. And in Winston-Salem, Police Chief Barry Roundtree says his officers are putting up crime scene tape way too often.
We're not pleased as where we are now. You know, in particular, our homicides, where we have seen an increase from 2012 to 2013.
Last year, Winston-Salem police investigated 15 murders compared to 8 the year before. And Roundtree says several of those people were killed over domestic disputes and drugs.
Future plans are to add additional personnel to our Special Investigations Division. That's a division that primarily investigates drug offenses.
But Roundtree says other statistics show the department is doing a lot of other things right. Winston-Salem detectives are solving a lot of murders. Plus, the number of rapes, robberies, and assaults with deadly weapons have dropped significantly over the past 5 years. Department officials say that's because they have more officers patrolling the streets and they're working closely with the community.
All these results are significant because during 2013, few of our citizens were victims of their homes being broken into, their vehicles being stolen, and fewer were victims of aggravated assaults.
Now, the police chief, city council, and mayor are holding a forum on February 1st to discuss why these murders are happening and talk about possible solutions. Reporting live in Winston-Salem, Stephanie Ondo, Fox 8 News.
Stephanie, thank you. It's another major setback for the man convicted of brutally beating a store manager in Winston-Salem. This week, a 3-judge panel dismissed Calvin Michael Smith's appeal request. In 1995, Smith was convicted of beating Jill Marker at the Silk Plant Forest store near Haynes Mall. After reviewing the case, that panel upheld a decision by an earlier district court. That court found Smith failed to meet the 1-year deadline for prisoners wanting to have their cases appealed in federal court. Our news gathering partners at the Winston-Salem Journal report Smith plans to petition the U.S. Supreme Court to review his case. In Lexington, the community will come together this weekend in memory of Nancy Harvey. You may remember she owned the Atlanta car company, and it's been close to a year since someone murdered her inside the business. She was suffocated with a bag that was found tied over her head. Her family's offering an $8,000 reward in hopes of finding her killer. And tomorrow evening, they're holding a candlelight vigil for Harvey at 6:30. It is happening at the Atlanta Car Company off Old Highway 52 in Lexington. Well, this weekend, parents and students in Guilford County are invited to explore the district's magnet school options. The school system's hosting its annual magnet fair tomorrow in Greensboro, happening at the Coliseum Pavilion from 9 until 12:30. And during this time, families will have a chance to learn more about the district's 54 magnet programs. Students will also have a chance to apply for those programs during the fair.
All right, we're in the midst of another Arctic outbreak. We got one coming next week. Next week's, though, could be a little bit more interesting and complicated before all is said and done because a storm system is expected to develop off the southeast coast. We'll have the latest on what's expected from that system and where it's going to produce some snow. Coming up next.
Also, the first cold weather Super Bowl, how the NFL is getting its fans and players ready to deal with it. You know, rhinos don't usually find themselves in freezing weather. How the North Carolina Zoo is taking care of them and other of its residents who are not used to the cold. We'll be right back.